everyone. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. We have a very special guest today, all the way from Thailand. We have Jay from Defying Decay. Hi, Jay.
Hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys doing with the COVID and everything? What's happening in Thailand?
We're doing all right, but I guess it's just really boring because like all of our tours this year got canceled, which like this year, as you probably saw previously, we had like a lot of dates lined up and a lot of festivals. Like we had a Europe tour with Born of Osiris and Volumes, and everything got canceled. Like I think we totally got like about 50 shows in total that got canceled, which like 50 shows for us is probably like the same amount of shows we kind of played like in the past 3 years, and they're all big, so kind of sucks. Regarding COVID in Thailand, things are kind of settling down now. The government actually just lifted the curfew this previous Monday that just came. So before there was a curfew, like you can't leave your house from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m. in the morning, kind of thing.
Right.
We're trying to prevent. Hello, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think we got disconnected.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying what's happening with the COVID in Thailand?
I was saying things are kind of starting to get back to normal now, in my opinion, because like the government just lifted their curfew this Monday that just passed, and because before we can't leave the house from like 10 p.m. until 3 a.m., but they just canceled that, and the shopping malls are starting to resume back as normal. So I would say it's almost back to normal, with the exception of like they still like don't have international flights coming in and out, and you can have shows now, but it has to be seated, and with like distance kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, actually, I followed you guys. You posted some quarantine while in quarantine. You posted some videos, right?
Yeah, we kind of did. Yeah.
So yeah. You were working on the new album, right? You're recording few songs already?
Yeah, we are like but at the moment what we want to do is like after this COVID is over, we'd like to have a new album ready, but like we've been trying to work on it, because like we're pretty much doing nothing except for just staying home, that's all really. So we're trying to make the best of the time, while the tour is canceled, make some new music, and it's coming all right, I guess.
Yeah. So the first time I saw you was actually this year in Manila when you opened for Silverstein, right? So was that your first time in Manila, or you came before?
I think we played there in 2007. It was a local show hosted by a guy called Jared. I think it was his company called Breakdown Music or something, or Breakdown Events.
Right.
And we played 2 dates. One was at I don't remember the bar name now, but it was in some sort of bar. And the second date we played at this car wash called Revamp.
Oh yeah. It's very far from Manila. Yes, I know that.
Oh yeah, we played there, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, there was a lot of people and stuff. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, but I remember the Silverstein show because that's where I was able to talk to you as well, the band, and it was a really great show.
Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yes. So Jay, what is your earliest memories of music, and what did you listen when you were younger? What artist got you into rock and metal?
I guess, I was into rock and metal when I was like, younger. I like, bands like Linkin Park and stuff like that. The earliest memory of music for me would possibly be when I was like, I think around 5 or 6, I don't remember clearly. I had to sing for the Queen of Thailand's birthday with my parents, and then I just really enjoy performing, from then. And like, after that moment, I just like, like performing in front of a crowd. I just think it's something I would like to do, Then I started developing, my interest in music when I started, I think around 6, I started playing the Lanat Egg. It's like a Thai classical instrument, Thai xylophone. Then I like singing as well, but like obviously I was younger, so you know I wasn't that good and I couldn't scream or anything like that, you know, because I was really young. I was like 8 years old or something. So I just wanted to play the guitar, you know, and then I started from there, you know, really. Then I formed a band kind of thing when in 2011 this band was formed, you know, and like yeah, it just went on from there. And I started, you know, playing guitar for the band at first, and I had another vocalist screaming, and then I became like, you know, the vocalist instead, you know, because he left, and then you know it just developed from there, really.
Mm. So, what bands you were listening to when like you were covering when you started your earlier band?
It was like always like, you know, Slipknot, Linkin Park was the big one, and Deftones, and a lot of like the new metal era genre band, you know.
Right.
Before I went emo, you know, I was really into those. Then after that, it would probably, you know, after, you know, because during the new metal era, I listened to a lot of, you know, Linkin Park and Deftones the most, and yeah, and what else? Yeah, maybe Breaking Benjamin. Then it started getting into the emo phase, you know. So with like My Chemical Romance, Story of the Year, and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I hear those influences when I listen to your album actually, right? Because it's a big influence to you, right?
Yeah, I guess in a way. I mean, for the second record, it definitely was, you know. But for
Yeah.
the upcoming new stuff, maybe it's not so much. But yeah.
Yeah. So were there any Thai bands that you were interested in back then?
Not really at all, actually, because like when I was young, I studied in an international school, and like
Right.
I just like I just wasn't so much, and you know, in my school, you know, when I was younger, you know, nobody really listened to any Thai bands or Thai music, you know, so I never was really like, you know, that, you know, like known of it, or didn't really was interested, because I feel like most of the bands, you know, what they were trying to do back then was just sound like Corn,
Ah,
Limp
okay.
Bizkit, like Linkin Park, you know, or just trying to copy kind of thing. So I just feel like, why would I listen to those stuff if like, you know, I can kind of like, you know, like listen to the original one. But yeah, but I mean, they were still good, you know, there's a lot of good Thai bands, you know, now I feel, you know, nowadays, but you know, back then when I was just younger, I didn't really know much, you know, and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So so the earlier band you started, so when did it happen that when it became Defying Decay?
Actually, the first band I actually ever started was this band, Defying
Oh,
Decay.
okay.
I just never changed the name, but originally the band started off as we were called like Defying All the Decay. Now the reason for that was because like, you know, at that time we started in 2011, and like it was a trend to have bands like Bring Me the Horizon, Devil's Wear Prada, A Day to Remember, as in like, you know, have 4 letters, right? Like
Right.
DMTH kind of thing, ADTR, you know. So we were like, we want to be that. So Defying all the Decay would be like DATD, you know.
Okay. Okay.
That was the thing. Then we thought it was kind of stupid, and that name probably lasted only like 3 months, you know. It was like, what the fuck? So we changed it to like Defying the Decay, you know. And then it was good, but then like I think it was when we recorded our second album, Metamorphosis, we worked with music video director. His name was Stuart Burchill, and he worked with, you know, bands like Bring Me the Horizon and Architect, and he recommended to us that like we should change our band name to just Defying Decay, because it flows a tongue better and DD is cooler. And we also thought that, you know, if we were defying the decay, it would be DTD, and that's like, I think, a drink till death for the These Nuts band, all the Australian bands, because
Right.
we were having our Instagram name, you know, ending with DTD, and then like, you know, it was the same as, you know, like Sam Carter and people like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we changed it to Defying Decay.
Right. So what's your latest lineup of Defying Decay? I know that you actually have a keyboardist also now, a female keyboardist.
Yes. Her name's Jenny.
Yeah. So who is the current lineup?
The current lineup right now is okay. I have me, and I have 2 guitarists. One, his name is Pon Uchin, and song, Shitty Pot. Those are my two guitarists. And I have playing on bass. And then I have Bun Bun on like sampling and turntable, you know.
Right.
And I have keyboard and synthesis, Jenny. That's a female keyboard you're talking about. And regarding drums, like it's actually Mark Mironov, but like he isn't able to play every gig with us because he lives all the way in Russia, you know. So usually for like, you know, any tour dates that like it's only one date, you know, he wouldn't fly over, you know. He would usually fly over if the tour is at least like, you know, 7 dates, something like that, you know. So yeah. So we use session drummers, you know, if we have smaller gigs, you know, here and there, which it's vary.
Yeah. So you toured. So which countries in Southeast Asia you played so far? Have you covered like most of the countries in Southeast Asia?
Surprisingly, actually, not that much. Let me try and think. So I've played in Singapore before twice, just something like that, and I played in China. I think quite a few days in China. I think I've covered like 13 cities in China, and also Hong Kong. And what else? Where did we play? Philippines, and Taiwan. Yeah, we played in Taiwan before. And we played in Japan before, and I think that's about it in Asia. You know, region. Haven't played in you know, Indonesia yet, and stuff like that.
Do you guys still play? You play local gigs as well?
Not that much. It's like to be frank, like we're not that really known in the local scene because like to be able to, you know, play a lot of local gigs, you kind of like, you know, have to play a lot of local gigs first and get your name out there, then you'll get invited. But as a band, for me, you know, when I started this band, I always, you know, wanted to focus on the international market because like one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing right now, aside from obviously I'm enjoying the music and stuff, but as a kid, you know, I see my dad, you know, travel around the world for meetings and stuff, and sometimes he would take me if, you know, if he can or I'm not in school. And I always wanted to grow up, you know, working on stuff where has to do with, you know, traveling, you know, or something around the world. And I wanted to be like, you know, maybe like Thailand's, you know, first band to kind of be able to tour around the world to an international audience, you know, because there's also a lot of Thai bands who like, you know, like it's really big and they tour international, but they would tour in university internationally and there would be Thai students coming to watch, you know. But yeah, that's why I'm not really like that big in the local scene, to be frank. We do get offer, you know, sometimes, yeah, for sure, but it's not that much, and especially the COVID. I think the last gig I played in Thailand was probably last year, to be honest, a year ago, in back in August or September. August, yeah, last August.
Right. So yeah. I saw some of your live videos that you guys played a lot of places in Europe, right?
Not that much, but we did like do like one UK tour, which we have a lot of like videos for, because it was a big tour. It was with Motionless in White, and most of the shows were sold out, and it was like, you know, 2,000 to 4,000 people. So yeah, we try and make videos for those one.
Right. So you opened for Silverstein, Motion in White. What are the other bands you opened for, or you played with?
Okay. We've toured with Motionless in White and toured with you know, stuff like that. We played with Ocean State Alaska before, Crossfaith, and While She Sleeps, and what else did we play with? We played in Hot Town Festival, and that was with Issues and, you know, Crystal Lake and other stuff like that. And we toured. We did an America tour actually last year in June, July, August with Betraying the Martyrs, with Indestruction, Antheos, and Sentinels. And what other bands did we open for? I guess that's about it. If I can think of, yeah, we also toured with Off Mice and Men. Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Right. So, yeah. So you mentioned that the tour that got canceled, you were supposed to play with Volumes, right?
Yeah, Volumes, Born of Osiris, and what was the other band? Ocean State Alaska again. Yeah.
Have you listened to the new single of Volumes, Pixelate?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jay, one thing that I really admire with Defying Decay is these music videos you guys put out, because it's like super quality videos and very attractive. And once I, watch one video, I want to watch another one, because it's so good quality. How I mean, what's the story behind of you? I mean, putting all these videos, because it seems like you have to spend a lot of money to put these videos, right? It takes like a lot of effort. And is that part of your strategy going international?
I mean, I wouldn't, it maybe was in the beginning. Yes, I did kind of think that, oh, if your quality of work, is good, people would be interested, and if the stuff I'm putting out, you're appreciating it and seeing it, thank you very much, is good, then it should be, people should like be interested. But then like I realized that it's not really like that, like, because like you can kind of write the best song in the world and have the best music video production and everything, but at the end of the day, it's all about, marketing and promoting your own band. But like I still make these kind of videos because I love making videos for me. Because as a kid, aside from music, I was interested in also like acting, a bit. I was younger, and I got offered to play a movie before, and when I was younger, and a musical, before. But my parents usually turned down the offer because they were like, "Oh, Jay is still young. He's only like 5, 6, and he wouldn't focus in school if he get all these opportunities." Right. So when I would grow older, I took the music path. I'd still, in my passion to make, like to get revenge, so like, now I get to make, all the cool videos and stuff like that, and like, yeah, and like, I've just been working really closely with this one director in the past. His name is Stuart Birchall. We had like a working relationship going. Originally, I just reached him out when I was studying in London, and I wanted a video and for just one song, which is Ghost, and like, and after that, we talked, and he was also interested in filming some short films in Thailand, and then I helped him out a bit. So, we built a working relationship on there. So yeah, that's how we were able to put out a lot of videos as well, probably because, now like one of my good friends is, him. So yeah.
Yeah, I noticed because most of the videos were directed by Stuart, right? Yeah.
Yes, most of them.
So I want to talk about your album, this one.
Cool, Metamorphosis.
Yeah, I was able to get you guys to sign it, this one, last time. So I
remember.
When I was listening to this, it sounds like multiple layers. Like if you take just like one song, there's so many layers of music and different, I don't know, it sounds like very layered. There's a lot of things compressed into one song.
Yes.
I think you put a lot of your programming, and because you're not just a vocalist, right? You do a lot of programming and all this stuff. So can you tell me a little bit about this, the process of creating this album songs?
Okay, no problem. This was actually the first before this album. You might have known we have another album called All We Know Is Failing, and that album I made when I was 14 years old, until I was like, and finished it when I was 16, 17, then put it out. And obviously it was self-produced and everything because I was trying, but I sent it off to mix master somewhere else to make it sound better. With this album, I wanted to be different from the first album, as in I grew up a bit more, and I kind of know that, okay, to make a record, you usually layer a lot of guitars on there and stuff. And I worked with Matt Hyde, which was really awesome. And he taught me a lot of things, Then he showed me a lot of stuff that actually in a metal song, what makes it interesting is like, or the vocal layer of harmony, because how most like, metal band wouldn't really do that. It would just be screaming and a bit of singing, but not like the whole thing. And also regarding synths and programming, yeah, it's like, because like, like once you tear a song apart, if you have the stems, you would realize all of my favorite song, at least, all the Linkin Park and stuff, it sounds like there's just guitar, drum, and bass guitar and maybe a hook line keyboard. But actually within there's actually a lot of stuff that makes it interesting that you probably won't even realize until you listen to it, like, for the 100th times maybe. Then it will come up, So I wanted to try and, make it different and wanted to grow up, what I mean, as a musician and evolve, I don't want to do things I did like on the first record. So I tried experimenting and programming stuff. And even though it might not sound like, cool at first, but it might be cool later on in the mix. So when we have it down kind of thing as a background or atmosphere.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you. I was quite curious about this artwork and the logo that you guys use, like the insect or the grasshopper thing. So why that grasshopper or an insect?
Actually, this logo came to mind when I wanted to make this logo, right? Yeah. It's actually not like any insect. We kind of made it up. If you look at it carefully, the front of it is a mantis, a grasshopper, right?
Right.
But the back of it is actually from a bee, you know? And the wings are actually from butterfly, and the legs are from an ant. So this actually, but when you put it together in a shadow, it looks cool, you know? And people always argue all the time, you know, like, you know, in a, like, you know, fans, you know, always ask like, oh, so what the fuck is it? Is it an ant or is it like, you know, actually? But yeah, it's actually comprised of all these four like insects. The idea originally was that like, you know, I wanted something simple, you know, or that you can graffiti on that could be 2D or one layer, you know, doesn't have to have too much as a band logo. And you know, has that kind of culture of like being able to graffiti it around, you know, with a stencil like the new metal era, you know, with all those kind of band. And I think this animal would represent us because like our music, I don't even know what genre we play, you know? Okay, sure, if you're looking deep, we might be metalcore, but then it's not really metalcore, is it? You know, kind of thing, you know?
Right.
And this is the same thing with our logo. It's like a metamorphosis, you know? So, you know, you grow out of the what it was supposed to be kind of thing.
Yeah, and then I noticed that this album was mastered by Ted Jensen, right? Who mastered like Eagles, Green Day.
Yes.
How is that working with him?
Pretty cool. It was pretty fast, to be honest. I was not expecting. The album the guy who produced it is actually Matt Hyde, you know? He did Bullet for My Valentine and, you know, the first two album, and he did like Funeral for a Friend and Slipknot, All Hope Is Gone. He makes that album. So it was mixed. We produced it and recorded together with him. There's a few songs we sent it off to mix by someone else, you know, like Chris LG. And yeah, it was mastered by Ted Jensen, the whole album in the end. And yeah, I flew to New York with Matt Hyde because it was an attendance session, and we print out the mix to like, you know, 1/2-inch tape. I can show you, but it's in the other room maybe later. But yeah, you know, and we had him master it from the tape, and yeah, it sounds really awesome. And it was pretty fast, you know, working with Ted. Like usually, you know, with mastering, I would be like, oh, change this, change that. But when I walk into the room with Ted, it feels like he just know what to do exactly with our music, and everything was done in 2 passes, and the whole album was mastered under like 6 hours. So yeah,
nice. So I think like a week ago you guys put out a live album, right, on the digital platforms.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that live album?
Okay, sure. For me, like originally I wasn't planning to put this out, but obviously when we toured the UK with Motionless and White, we recorded all the shows professionally because like we had the multi-track recorder now. Then we can mix it and release them later. And I just thought the world was going really quiet, you know, and people were probably just missing out on live music a lot. And you know, and to us to be able to release this, you know, people could probably listen to our music live, and you know, it might be something. Because personally, for me, I always enjoy live music, anyways. You know, even like, you know, like one of my favorite album, I guess, would be Linkin Park live in Texas, kind of thing. Because you know, there's just so much energy in a live performance, and I personally feel like our music sounds better live, anyways. You know, like there's just more energy, and it just sounds more heavy and more. I don't know, like there's more like because on the record, you know, everything's perfect, you know, and like, you know, cleaned up and like, you know, sounds like a record should sound. But on like a live performance, there's all these imperfections and stuff, which, you know, makes it, you know, unique and like its own special piece of character, you know.
Right.
Regarding the title, the reason it's called LHRTG 911 was, I mean, like people ask me, why would you name an album like that? Because LHR is London Heathrow Airport, and TG 911 is a Thai Airways, like, you know, or it's a flight number that flies to the LHR airport. Well, the reason for me is because I studied, actually, when I was younger, I studied abroad in London in a boarding school. Right. My parents would send me there, and I always took that flight, you know, because I always flew Thai, and it was always TG 911 that flew me into London Heathrow, you know, airport. And for me, it's just really special, or something special that like, it's something I used to hate when I was younger, you know, but now I'm taking the exact same flight to fly back to tour in UK, you know, in London, and I'm doing something I want to do now, you know, kind of thing. That was yeah.
Yeah. So, Jay, I want to show you a few albums, and I want to get your reaction.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
first one.
Cool.
Adrenaline.
Deftones. That was a really awesome album. It was actually when I got into Deftones the first time. I started off with like, what album was it? I think White Pony. You know, what's the one I listened to in 2003 or 4. You know, later, and then I went back to this album later. You know, and I was like, damn, this sounds really cool in a way, because like they don't have too much electronics or anything. It was just like, you know, I think the 4 members, there was no like the DJ guy wasn't in yet, you know, the Frankie guy. So I was like, this sounds really raw and energetic, and the songs are just full with like grooves and riffs, you know. And I think it was the first, like, you know, because back then I was into Metallica and stuff, you know, and I just realized a song doesn't have to necessarily be like, you know, 5 minutes, 7 minutes long with a bunch of complicated solos and stuff to be good. Because this album is just catchy riffs and like, you know, and like short, you know, and really cool songs. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool album. And then this one.
Korn. This one, to be frank, I didn't really listen to it that much because like I wasn't too much into Korn, you know. But like I think it's still a pretty cool record. I couldn't really say much, you know, because like I know Korn and I love them for what they are.
Right.
With this one, like you see, okay, there's a song I know on this. I like the song Blind, but you know that's a song that everyone knows, the first song on like what's the other song? Like you know, but like yeah. Like it's cool. Too much.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are familiar with Follow the Leader, right? This one. Yeah. I couldn't find the Follow the Leader, so
that's cool.
And then I know you guys also like Killer Switch Engage, right?
Yeah, we do like Kill Switch Engage, but our Kill Switch Engage, like the biggest, like I think it was like our previous guitarist Russell, when he used to be in our band. He's still my best friend, you know, like we still hang out, but he just studied in America now, so he left the band. He's the biggest fan of Kill Switch in the band. He brought like, you know, all the influence. He was with us when we were making our first record, All I Know Is Failing. Yeah.
Right. Have you guys crossed path with Killer Switch during your touring or no?
We've never actually. We wish to, but we just never done it yet. And we've seen them live in Thailand, but yeah, we've just never played with them or anything.
Yeah. And then I know that this is the last album, the
Linkin Park
with the last album of Chester.
Yeah.
So I actually bought this in Thailand because I was there for a couple of days, and then I wanted to check out the, you know, what are the albums, and then I saw this, and I was kind of disappointed myself because I didn't go to the Linkin Park show in Manila, and then he passed away. So I bought this one, but I know that probably. What are your favorite Linkin Park albums?
1 second. Could I use a toilet real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry about that. Be right back. 1 second.
I love the heavy featuring Kiara is really nice song. That's why I actually bought this album. By the way, you can listen to this podcast on audio also on Spotify and Apple and all the other platforms. Just search for Channa 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 on Spotify or Apple Music, Apple Podcast, or even Google Podcasts and all the other channels. Let's wait for Jay.
All right, hi, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we were talking about your favorite Linkin Park albums.
Okay. It would be kind of unexpected, but my favorite Linkin Park album is actually A Thousand Suns.
Right. So
Yeah.
what are this? Do you remember like what first song of Linkin Park you listened to?
I don't know. Linkin Park's one of the band where I probably listen to every song and I love every album, you know?
Right.
Like when I was younger, obviously Hybrid Theory and Meteor had a big influence on me, you know? It's one of the few bands, it's one of those bands where I just like know most of the song, you know?
Just love.
So yeah, if you ask me to name a favorite, I just can't, you know? Like, like, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I used to listen to a lot of metal, and then there was a period that I was not listening to music that much. I was like working and all that, and then Linkin Park Hybrid Theory came out, and then the Crawling, the video of Crawling, and then all that. That really got me back into listening to the music because it's really very influential, right? It was
Yes.
really those music videos. I really love those Linkin Park music videos.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So Jay, what's so tell the people who's listening what's next for Defying Decay? What can they expect?
Sorry. What can they expect? Some new music sometime soon. I don't want to make any promises and say when exactly because, like, you know, it's not finished yet. Like, we don't like to put out a single, even though the songs is done, but the album's not complete and we have a full plan for everything. But either by the end of this year or early next year, we'll probably have a new record. You know, it could go along with the rescheduled tours and stuff. And yeah, as long as all this pandemic stuff is all over, we will try our best to rebook, you know, all our tours and get back, you know, to touring as soon as we can. In the meantime, right now, we're just working on some new music, as you know, and we're kind of trying to plan a special event as well, to be honest, that would probably take place in Thailand, our hometown, even though we're not that big here, you know, compared to the international market. But still, it's something I wanted to do for a while now, and it will be something really special. It will be an event, but we don't know when that will happen yet, but probably sometime in September, October, and watch out for that, I guess.
Yeah. I hope to see you guys again maybe because I think the good news is I think Slipknot already announced their Southeast Asia dates early January. And then I think Green Day is also announced it in March, I think. So things are sort of good news are coming out. So Jay, anybody you want to shout out to?
Oh, I guess I'd like to give out a shout out to Vernon because like and Pulp because like he gave me an opportunity to play in Philippines during the Silverstein show, and that was really awesome for me, you know, to be playing there. And you know, we were just like no one to him, you know, but like he gave us the opportunity, and like, you know, it gave us a lot of things, and you know, obviously you like discovering us out, so it's something really special. Because for me, the best part of playing music is being able to play tours and shows, you know, especially like, you know, big ones like that one. We just love it. And probably I'd like to give a shout out to Nico, you know, and, you know, because he helped me book, you know, the second and the first tour as well as Jared, you know.
Right.
And also shout out to Jared for sure. I think I haven't seen him in a while now on social media, but yeah, he booked our very first tour in Philippines, and you know, he like took really good care of us, and the shows were awesome. There was probably around like 170 people there on our very first headlining tour, and you know, we were no one. So yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah. I also want to shout out to CJ because CJ is the one who got me contacted you. I wanted to talk to you. Yeah, CJ.
Nope.
Yeah, so Jay, thank you for doing this, and then we'll wait for your new music, and then we'll enjoy the live album and keep making music, and hopefully we can see you soon.
Yeah, you too. Stay safe, and we'll catch up sometime soon.
Yeah, Jay. So thank you, Jay. Jay, just tell everyone your social media so how they can follow you and the band.
I say, just search Defying Decay on Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere else is the same. And follow us on Spotify because it's cool. So just Defying Decay. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, Jay. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Yeah!
Berarti na. 41%.